So when we're doing maths, we are allowed to use a calculator, right? And on that calculator or a scientific calculator, you have the functions sine, cos, tan. And so if you plug in certain angles, then you get the values of certain sine, theta angles, okay? However, there are a couple of exact values of sine, cos, tan, which we need to be aware of and try and memorize if needed or if possible, because they come in handy later on. So the way we derive them is using triangles. So let's look at a triangle. So the first triangle I'm going to draw is an equilateral triangle, like this, where the sides are all 1, 1, 1. And so if it's an equilateral triangle, the angle is all 60 degrees, right? So I'm going to split that triangle in half, like this. So this angle here is 60 and this angle here is 30 degrees. And so therefore the length is of a half a triangle is going to be a half, right? And I'm only going to look at this side here. Right, so if I blow this triangle up a bit more, make it a bit bigger, then it's a right angle triangle here, which is just 60 degrees, this is 30 degrees, this is 1, and this is a half. And so let's call this height h, and I want to work out h. So if this is a right angle triangle, I can use Pythagoras. So h squared is equal to, h squared plus half squared is equal to 1 squared. So h squared is equal to 3 over 4, so h is root 3 over 2. Okay, so we have all the lengths of this particular triangle. Okay, and now from here, what I can work out is the sine, cos, tan of 30, 60. So let's look at the sine first. Okay, so sine, let's go with sine 60 first. So the first sine we know is opposite over hypotenuse, right? So the opposite value is of sine, it will be the root 3 over 2, and it's going to be divided by the hypotenuse, which is just 1. So the exact value of sine 60 is actually root 3 over 2. If we were to do cos 60 now, cos 60 is just adjacent over hypotenuse, which is 1 over 2 over 1, which is just 1 over 2. And finally, tan 60, or tan 60 is opposite over adjacent, so root 3 over 2 over adjacent, which is 1 over 2, which is equal to root 3. So these are the exact values of sine 60, cos 60, and tan 60. We can do the same thing with 30. So now we're going to look at this 30 degrees here. So we have sine 30 is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite is 1 over 2 divided by hypotenuse, which is 1. So it's going to be 1 over 2. Cos 30 is equal to adjacent, root 3 over 2. Opposite over hypotenuse, which is 1. So it's root 3 over 2. And tan 30 is opposite, which is 1 over 2 divided by adjacent, which is root 3 over 2. Which will cancel out to 1 over root 3 like these. So these are the exact values of sine 30, cos 30, and tan 30. So now I'm going to draw a different triangle. So now I'm going to draw a right angle triangle like this. This is the right angle here. And so I'm going to label these 1 and 1. So it's actually an isosceles triangle as well. And now I'm going to once again split it down the middle. So therefore, this is 45 degrees, and this is also 45 degrees. And so if I was to now work out this total length here using Pythagoras, let's call this one x. So x squared is equal to 1 squared plus 1 squared, so x is root 2. So therefore, half of that length will be root 2 over 2, like this. I'm now going to draw half the triangle a bit larger, so like this. Okay, so that this is 45 degrees. This is 45 degrees. This is 1, this is root 2 over 2. And if I use the Pythagoras again, that this would also be root 2 over 2. All right, so with this, what we can actually work out now is sine, cos, tan 45 degrees. So sine 45 degrees, you can use either angle, is root 2 over 2 over 1. Cos 45 is actually also root 2 over 2 over 1. Whereas tan 45 is root 2 over 2 divided by root 2 over 2, which is equal to 1. So these are the exact values of sine, cos, tan 45 degrees. So these are the particular specific angles that we need to be very aware of, and the exact values which you guys, I know it's not like you can use a calculator to work these out, you can just simply plug it in, but it's also very good to memorize these or be very familiar with each one. So if I was to just summarize in a table, let's have sine, cos, tan, and then we're going to have all the different angles. So let's go 0, 30, 45, 60, and 90. Then sine 0, that's 0. 30 is a half, root 2 over 2, root 3 over 2, and 1. Cos 0 is 0. root 3 over 2, root 2 over 2, half, and 0. 0, 1 over root 3, 1, root 3, and this has no value. Tan 90, because 90 is an asymptote, right? So it has no value for that. So this is a useful table that you guys should try and memorize, or be, as I said, be very, very familiar with, because these angles do come up a lot when we do maths in further modules.